Hello everyone and welcome to our presentation. First off, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today and your interest in our solutions. Today we're going to talk about automations and specifically auto-invoicing, the process that can run by itself for you, saving great deal of effort. And we're going to talk today about traditional invoicing process in QAD and the reasons why you may want to automate it. And we're going to talk about 3 ways to implement auto-invoicing. The first method is do it yourself 100% without buying any software, hardware, or services. The second method is do it yourself with LBOX. And we're going to talk about what LBOX is all about and why it might be a good option for you to consider. And the third option is do it for me option. And specifically, the first 2 options are the most important topics we're going to be focusing on. And then we will wrap it up with the Q&A session. And let's have a look into existing traditional invoicing process. Usually, QAD users run invoice print program 7.13.3 or 7.13.12 menu. They select a printer, collect printed invoices, stuff them into envelopes, seal them, and then send to customers by mail. In a few days, the mail is delivered, sorted out, and then finally handed over to the right people at the customer end. So then they'll be able to process our invoices and issue payments. The problem with this method is it's still manual. Someone at your company has to do this job over and over again. The other thing that you may notice that more and more of your customers may be already asking for electronic invoices because electronic format is easier and faster for them to process versus paper-based documents. So if we were to summarize the issues with traditional invoicing, we would say something like that process is manual, someone has to do this job over and over again, and the process is prone to errors. Someone can accidentally send the wrong invoice pages to your customer. And also the process is not scalable, which means the more invoices you produce, the more labor hours is required to properly print them off and send them out. Some of your customers may already asking for electronic invoices, but you cannot satisfy their request. And also we have to take into consideration the time it takes to deliver the invoice to the customer. Usually it's a few days, and that means slower payments, and we want faster payments. That leads us to a question: why don't we automate this process? What if the system would print the invoices and send them out to your customers automatically? What kind of benefits it'll give us? First off, you'll be able to release people's resources to more important tasks. And I'm sure you have plenty other things to do other than just stuffing the papers into envelopes and then sealing the envelopes, etc. And then automation eliminates human errors, such as accidents where invoices are sent to wrong customers, and also give your customers what they asked for, specifically who asked already for electronic invoices. That'd be easier for them to process those versus paper. And that also means faster payments. There are also direct and indirect cost savings associated with the listed above points, such as savings on labor, postal, and etc. And of course, the next point is scalability. For automated process, it doesn't really matter how many invoices to generate, whether it's a 10, 100, or 1,000. It works quickly and accurately, exactly as you want it to do. And as your company grows, the auto-invoicing process grows with it. And with all these listed benefits, these benefits will help your company, will improve your company image in the customer's view. And we definitely want that. Now let's have a look into the schematics of how this process can be accomplished. So first off, we will need to flag those customers who want electronic invoicing. So the first step will be to install new program to maintain these settings in the QED ERP system. As you go along, you may sign up more customers to auto-invoicing service or vice versa. You can opt them out. And then when it comes to invoicing process itself, there will be two steps. You will need to run your existing invoice print program to paper invoices, and you will need to run a new auto-invoicing program to produce electronic invoices. However, the sequence should be the opposite. The auto-invoice step should go first, and the paper invoicing should go the second. So it should look like this. The reason we need two steps because we now have two sets of customers, those who want paper invoices and those who want electronic invoices, right? So that's why we have two steps. However, if we sign up all the customers to electronic invoicing, then we no longer need step number 2. This is how Auto-Invoice maintenance program look like. Very simple. Just enter email address against customer number for those who want electronic invoicing. And if they don't no longer need electronic invoicing, then you can just remove that email account, like the email address, and just blank it out. And then they no longer be receiving electronic invoices. And by the way, we will provide all the source codes to this program to you, and then you will feel free to modify if needed. And in this example, I'm just showing a little bit more sophisticated version of this program with a couple more options added to this program. Now let's have a look into ways how to implement auto-invoicing. And we're talking about 3 ways. Today we're going to talk about 3 ways depending on your situation and your budget and availability. So the first option is do it yourself 100%, following the instruction. You don't need to buy any software, hardware, or services with this option. And option number 2, do it yourself with LBOX. And you will need LBOX tool from us, which is an inexpensive tool that gives you a nice piece of functionality, making your invoices looking good and professional. And the third option is do it for me. This is where we provide turnkey solution to you. Now let's have a look into first option. So the benefits of this method is simplicity and ease of implementation, right? So as I mentioned earlier, you don't need to buy anything. You can do everything all by yourself, simply just by following our step-by-step instruction. You have to have technical skills such as 4GL, progress programming skills, and also capacity to work on this project. You follow the instructions, and as a result, your auto-invoicing process will be sending emails to your customers with invoices printed to the body of the email messages. And we'll show you in a moment. You're going to have a new menu program looking like this. And you would run this program to a new printer called 32EML. And you'll see in our detailed instruction how to set it up. This program can be scheduled to run at night as a batch program, or you can run it manually from the menu, depending on how you want it to run it. And the process generates and sends emails out to your customers looking like this. So the invoice is printed to the body of the email. We're going to email you the instruction, which has links to the sample code that you can download and use to your advantage. And feel free to modify where needed. Should not be hard to do at all. And now let's talk about option number 2, do it yourself with LBOX. This option gives you more freedom, more desirable output, and also nice features, other nice features for reasonable, easy, justifiable cost of LBOX product. And let's see what LBOX is all about. LBOX is a software tool designed specifically to automate processes of document generation and distribution to your partners or internal staff who has no access to QAD ERP. LBOX enables ERP information sharing via email in a batch mode. And batch mode means automation. So LBOX also creates PDFs and Microsoft Excel documents from plain QAD output out of the box. And many reports are converted properly to Microsoft Excel by LBOX. LBOX also gives you the ability to brand your invoices, purchase orders, sales orders, and other documents with your logo, as well as customize your outgoing emails with personalized recipient messages or marketing messages. In other words, LBOX is the tool for sharing ERP information the way you want it in automatic fashion. And now if we go back to the option number 2, do it yourself with LBOX, with this option, LBOX will produce nice looking PDF invoices and send them out to your customers. You also will be provided with technical step-by-step instruction and download links for this method. And you will get a software trial of LBOX, so you'll be able to test everything out, the whole thing. And this method generates personalized emails to your customers with the attached nice looking branded PDF documents. And by the way, LBOX can be configured in such a way that the sender of those emails can be a real person. For example, alex.kim@32soft.com, not system account like noreply@32soft.com or system@32soft.com. And this way, the recipients will not notice the difference whether the automated email, it's automated email coming from a real person or from the system. And sometimes it's convenient for customers in case they want to reply back, right? So that'd be just a nice feature to have. And you'll be able to design your own invoices forms using Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel applications, and you can make them as fancy as you can, and we'll show you how to. You don't need any special skills to design those forms or to implement this method, nor you should learn any other programming languages. All you have to have is experience with Progress 4GL programming. And once you implement auto-invoicing successfully, you will be able to utilize LBOX and automate other processes such as generating and distributing purchase orders, supplier schedules, price list updates, AR collection letters, statements, and so on. Now, how does this process look like? Very similar to process number one. You're going to have a menu looking like this. And you would run this program to a new printer called LBOX. And you'll see in the detailed instructions how to set it up. And this program also can be scheduled to run at night automatically as part of the batch, or you can run it from the manual if you want. And the process generates email looking like this on the screen with the PDF attached to the body of the message. Now, the body of the email can be static content, or it can be dynamically changed. In other words, your program may write a personalized email message based on the customer code. For example, the email body can say something like, "Dear Alex, thank you for your prompt payment for our previous invoice 123, and now we're sending you a new invoice 234 for the products you recently purchased. And by the way, if you're still interested in our product AEC, we'll be happy to offer you a discount 3% next month. Thank you for your business. Best regards, your friends at 32Soft." And you can program that yourself using 4GL programming skills. When you select how LBOX creates PDFs, when you select LBOX as a printer, LBOX reads QAD program output, such as plain text, and merges the text with a static content in a PDF template, which can contain your logo, boxes, legal reads, labels, and etc. In other words, the program simply overlays the text content on the left with the static content on the right, resulting in a nice-looking PDF document, as you can see on the screen. People who work with multi-copy pre-printed forms for dot matrix printers may recognize that here we have the same idea on how the resulting document is created, with the only difference that we create electronic PDF document versus paper-based. And how do you develop the static content template? It's entirely up to you. We just recommend using Microsoft Word application or similar to create a template with your logo, graphics, and so on. And then you convert it into a PDF. And now let's see, let me show you some samples of the invoice forms. And you can design very similar ones. Yeah, it all depends on the time you have and availability to work on these designs. From the other hand, if you don't want to spend much time on those forms, the simple form, if the simple form is good enough, then you can complete it within like 30 minutes or so. And the end result will still look good. The technical instructions will be provided to you as well. And that leads me to the last option, number 3, do it for me. I'm not going to spend time covering details. Simply, we want to mention that this option exists, and our main focus is on the first 2 options. And in conclusion, just want to recap briefly what we talked about today. We talked about invoicing process in QAD and its disadvantages. We talked about benefits of automating the process versus leaving as is. We talked about the benefits would include releasing resources, eliminating errors, and then the ability to give your customers what they may be already asking for. It also means faster payments, direct and indirect cost savings, scalability. As your company grows, the auto-invoicing process grows with it. And we talked about 3 ways to implement the auto-invoicing: do it yourself with LBOX, and do it for me option. we're going to email you those instructions for number 1 and 2, so you can work on those projects yourself. And that concludes my presentation now. So I'm handing over the control to Denise.